You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Bonus show, World Series of Bowling. Lots going on right now. Just finished the show today, Sunday. Finished the show yesterday for the major. Got 3 days of bowling coming up live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on FS1. So we are jumping on early on a Sunday. Beautiful Sunday, by the way. I don't know where you are, but beautiful day here, and ready to talk some bowling. Been watching bowling, feels like, for the last pretty much 7 days. So
that's why I say it's the best week in bowling. Like, the fact that we have 2 shows this week, I mean, I think that in and of itself speaks to the idea that this is the best week in bowling.
I mean, look, like 5 live shows, I might start to tend to agree with you if they keep that tradition up. But, according to the PBA website, which I was on just literally a half hour ago, I couldn't even tell you what was going on in the next few days when it comes to the match play portion, Mike. It's just, and we'll talk more about that later in the show after we review, the shows yesterday and today. But I'm just struggling right now trying to get some kind of information about what's going on the next few days. So, other than that, yeah, what's going on with you, man? How's the weekend?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I just finished filling the in-ground pool, yo. So I mean, so to get off the ball.
Wait, Mike.
Yeah, go
real
ahead.
Quick. Zarkov coming in hot on the chat early.
Who? I gotta see. Let me see.
Coming in hot.
Ooh.
Big take. Dude, we are starting swinging out of the gate today. We did chat a little bit about EJ, and maybe we'll get into that when we review the show. But go ahead, Mike. Sorry to cut you off there, but
I'll ask Zarkov. Which sounds? Can I just say that sounds like a burner? Zarkov.
No. Zarkov's my guy, man. Zarkov's,
okay. All right.
Dude, he balls out of the West Coast, man. Yeah, he's
okay.
Good. He's a good lefty.
Can I'm going to answer your question with a question. Okay. Did EJ Tackett throw it that bad?
I don't think so.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a few, Zarkov. Stay tuned. Rob, let's put the bowling. I know we don't want to be on for like super long tonight.
Yeah.
But can we just put the bowling on the back burner for 1 second? I just want to talk about this because like you asked me how my weekend was, and I'm filling up the pool, and can I say I don't know if anybody else out there feels this way, and I haven't gotten my vaccine yet. I know you got your first shot at least last week. You mentioned I just got an email on Friday from my school district saying they're going to offer the vaccine to employees. So I should be getting mine soon. But can I just say that I feel like an impending sense of like things exploding, like socially, I mean, like I think it's going to be a wild summer, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, I think people are going to be ready to get out. I think people are going to be amped up to party and socialize. And I'm ready, man. I'm ready for it. I can't wait.
Man, I just can't wait for this mask mandate to be gone. I think once that happens, then I'll start getting a little bit excited about the possibility of getting crazy. I mean, I don't live in Texas or Arizona or I forgot where the other mandate went down. I think it was like Montana or Iowa or something. But dude, like once the mask mandate and I'm able to go out and not have to wear a mask, then that's when I think people are gonna be like, let's go, let's do this. But yeah, the summer's looking good.
So I see Dan Dunleavy mentioning about parties. I'm kind of well known for throwing good parties. So, Rob, I'm just going to give you the heads up. I'm not putting too much info out there, but you might want to book a flight out east for like the last couple weeks of August. I'm just letting you know. All right. So don't say
Okay.
I didn't tell you. All right. Don't say I
Okay.
didn't tell you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we have a lot of bowling to talk about, and clearly the people in the chat want to talk about bowling, and so do we, Rob.
Yep.
That's what we're here for. We watched a lot of bowling over the weekend and the past week leading up to these big shows. We'll start with the World Championship show, shall we?
Yeah, the main course before the appetizers. Isn't that what you called it?
Yeah. Well, it was. Am I
It
right? Like,
was.
you
No, you're
know,
100% right.
I
Yeah.
understand. I'm not going to criticize because of the scheduling. I know that Fox kind of has some level of control over what the PBA does and when the shows are. So I get it. But yeah, certainly like to have that major show over the weekend and then follow that up with some of the lesser money value, lesser prestigious World Series shows here, a little bit backwards to me. But listen, 5 days of live bowling,
Well, Mike,
I'll take it.
I'm fine with the major being on a Saturday.
Okay.
I'm fine with that because of the timing. They could have
Yeah.
put it on Saturday or Sunday, and I would have been fine with it. It would have made no sense if they would have had the major on Wednesday night.
Right.
I mean,
I
when they
agree.
had Saturday and Sunday airtime, so
I
that's
agree.
something that I'll agree with them on the
Yeah,
showing.
you
But
want to you certainly want to put the best product you can out on prime time, right?
sure,
Saturday
on the
afternoon.
Big Fox
Yeah,
too.
Big Fox. So
For
yeah, I
sure.
don't I don't I don't have much griping about that either. I just like I said, it's sort of like for people that follow it closely, obviously the world championship title is a much more meaningful title than some of the things that we're going to see over the next couple days. Not to take anything away from the people that win over the next few days, but I feel like that's kind of the general way that people look at it. So I guess, Rob, we'll start with EJ Tackett since somebody already brought that up in the chat. I mean, you know, I personally thought with the exception of that one shot, right at the end of the game, and let me be clear, I don't even really think it should have came down to that one shot at the end of the game. There was a spare miss there. He really had a lot of trouble carrying. Okay, and that's sort of what I'm alluding to. Like I think he threw it really well and could have bowled a huge game there if things would have went his way. They didn't go his way. He ends up losing on what people are going to look at as a bad shot in the 10th, when he needed it. But to me, the story of that game was more so the lack of carry there. A lot of criticism from Randy and Belmo in the booth about his ball choice, the ball being very shiny, the break point being too far down the lane and too late down the lane. And to be honest with you, I kind of agreed with them. I mean, I thought the same thing myself as I was watching, right? So when they said that, I kind of felt good about, oh well, the way I'm looking at things or my analysis seems to be on point because to me it just looked like that ball was not shaping up the way that his opponent who he was bowling against had a much better look in terms of being able to carry.
I mean, it just shows you he's been struggling on TV for the past few years, though, and I think Zarkov, you hit the nail on the head. He's been struggling on carry on TV since 2019. Look, EJ Tackett is a top 5 bowler in the world. There's no question about that. If you ask anybody out there who has any knowledge of the PBA and follows it, and you ask them their top 5, EJ Tackett will be in that top 5. He'll be in a lot of the top 3 like
Deservedly
conversation.
so.
Okay. Yeah. Now here's the thing though, is it just shows you how hard it is to win on TV. Really, it shows you how hard it is. Like, and it just EJ's a great bowler, but dude, the lights are on. The pressure, and on top of that, the lane transitions differently when you're on TV. There's commercial breaks. It's a lot of mental, right? Miss spares, right? He missed a spare, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Oh, miss spares. Somebody already said in the chat, like, what happened to making spares, man? Seriously. Like missed single pins and missed spares have become a regular thing on PBA shows, and I've been watching PBA shows for years. Never remember that being a regular thing.
Well, it's a different style of game now, Mike.
You're right.
When you watched it back in the 80s and 90s, you had guys like Walter Ray, Steve Jaros, and even you go back further than that, spare shooting, you had to make spares. You look at today's game now; it's so much power. There's so much two-handed bowling. I mean, you'd expect people to miss. I mean, you'd expect these guys to miss more spares just in the nature of where the game is today. Now, if you look at someone like a tradition, like guys that are like my age and your age that are in their like late 30s and early 40s, they don't miss a whole lot of spares. And then you guys look at the younger crowd, the younger generation seems to be a little bit more of the missed spares, I think, on that end. I could be wrong, but I feel like these guys, these younger kids need to spend a lot more time shooting spares. But Rash, I think, missed a spare today. So maybe my argument doesn't hold up, but it's a different game today, Mike, and I feel like that's a lot of the reason why they're missing spares. But you're right, though, and you tweeted it out, epidemic. It's becoming an epidemic. I mean, there's one missed spare on every show, it seems, the last, like 3 or 4 months, right? I mean, every show seems to be someone's missing a spare. So, look, here, and it's those missed spares, Mike, are actually affecting the results of these games, of the matches. I mean, look what happened today with Rash, or look what happened. Well, no, it wasn't really today. We'll talk more about that. But if EJ Tackett makes that 10 pin, he wins that match. No. Hello.
Am I back? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here. Sorry,
okay.
I lost you there for a second.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree, man. And I do say it on Twitter that the spare shooting is an epidemic. Especially with the single pins. John Stevenson mentioned in the chat that when you used to watch bowling back on a Saturday afternoon, it was like shocking to see somebody. I agree with you there. I think it is a result of there just being more strikes thrown. But for me, and Jimmy from the Ring 10 is in the chat acting like we're saying EJ Tackett stinks. I don't think that's what we're saying, Jimmy. I think that
I said he's a top 3 in the world.
Yeah, recently, like in some bigger spots on bigger shows, he's definitely had some issues.
He's folded like a cheap suit. He's folded like a cheap suit.
But other bowlers, other great bowlers, other all-time greats have gone through this as well. We've even seen Belmo recently kind of have a stretch where he had some struggles on TV and didn't seem to be able to get over the hump.
Barnes has had struggles on
certainly.
TV. Bill has struggled on TV.
Bill had a long stretch where he really didn't bowl all that great at all in general, right? So I think that don't go too far with what we're saying, but especially in this instance, I mean, listen, he threw the ball awful good to get 9 that many times. And I noticed a few times, he was looking off to the side during that match, and no comment on what's going on there. But if you follow, right? Like it kind of looked to me like he was a little bit frustrated with his look, or with the game plan that he came up with to attack the lanes in this particular match. And yes, we'll get to the doubles. Patrick D in the chat saying Troop missed a spare to lose the game today. Yeah. I mean, listen, anytime as a competitive bowler, I'm not even going to say professional bowler, if you miss a spare or especially a single pin, Rob, you feel like, if you lost, that's the reason you lost in most instances, right?
Yeah, 100%, because you go back and you replay that match in your head, and if you make that spare and if you lose your match under 10 pins and you have a missed spare in that match, I mean, that's what you look back at. You don't look back at all the other shots you made. You look back at the spare you missed, the 10 pin. It's like missing a free throw for a lot of the NBA players who are 90% at the free throw line, because a lot of these guys during the week, dude, their 10 pin shooting and their single pin shooting is usually in the 90 percentile or higher, making single pin spares. And then when you miss a single pin on TV, it's like missing a free throw for Steph Curry, and really comes down to that, really. And that's tough. It's a tough loss. But yeah, so first off,
and yeah, Rob, we certainly don't mean to skip over the first 2 matches of the World Championship.
Oh, well, right? I fell asleep through the first 2 matches, Mike.
So, but I was going to say, the first 2 matches were not the most competitive matches we've seen. Kyle Troop, definitely
Struggled.
came out. I thought had some ball reaction issues. You could tell very early. Chris Vi was able to get on top of him very quickly and stay there. That match, although the score was 210 to 201, I think it wasn't that close throughout the game. And then the same could kind of be said about the Butcher Vi match, 249 to 227. Although it seemed a little bit closer score wise, Buttriff was able to put together a huge string there that really separated those two through the end of the game. So you get to that point where what we were talking about was the Buttriff Tackett match, right? And the score there ends up being 210 to 178, but that match was actually much closer than the score indicates, right? Because Tackett opened in the 10th frame, ended with 178. But if he would have doubled there, I believe he would have won. He would have had a chance to win that game on the fill and go to the championship match. So Rob brings us to the championship match, and what I think is probably the biggest break in bowling history.
The trip 8 into the 2, which is unbelievable at that moment. It really is. Like, my mouth just dropped open, and I think I jumped off the couch when that happened. And I was hours after the show actually aired, and managed to stay away from social media. So I was literally like probably the only person watching at that minute that jumped out of his chair. First off, I need to say this. Doherty, and I put this on Twitter, Doherty put himself in that position to catch that break. Okay. He had one bad shot that game in the second frame. And if my information is correct, I remember him saying in his post-show interview, which I'm glad they actually had one this time, Mike, where Doherty said he picked up the wrong ball in the second frame. Now, which is crazy to me because you're bowling the biggest game of your life. You haven't won a major in 20 years, and you throw the wrong ball in the second frame. But look, like he was bowling 250 on that shot, which was to carry that much was
if
unbelievable,
he carried,
right?
If he would have struck in the second frame, he would have went like front 8, and he would have $1 million would have been on the line for the last
that's
4.
A big if.
I hear you.
My
I hear you.
man had balls to be my uncle.
Yeah, but at the same time, you like you said, if he did grab the wrong ball, I mean, that's a pretty wild reason not to strike in that frame, and lose that opportunity. But I want to be clear here, okay? I caught some heat online because the Oprah of the bowling world. Well, I tagged him and told him that because Belmo called it a rolled 2-pin. Let's be clear, that was not a rolled 2-pin. That was a trip 2-8. Okay. He told me I'm wrong. Many people like his tweet.
Tomato, tomato.
No. It's not tomato here, Rob. Big difference to me. I've discussed this with a few people already. A rolled 2-pin has a very specific image in any bowler's head. Okay. Rolled 2-pin, light hit, 2-pin only is standing. Pin comes from left backside and rolls the 2-pin for a right-hander, okay? Very specific image. Tell me I'm wrong. Rob?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay.
When I think of a roll 2-pin, that's exactly how I think it about.
So, in this instance, the 2-8 standing. The 2-8 is clearly standing as the rack is about to come down. A pin comes from the back. And shout to Charlie Tapp because he's one of the people that I talked to about this, and he was involved in some analysis there as well. A pin comes from the back, hits the 8-pin, which goes into the deadwoods, which then goes into the 2. That is a trip 2-8. That is not a rolled 2-pin. That is a much bigger break than a rolled 2-pin. Okay, rolled 2-pins to me are somewhat common. Trip 2-8s from the back are not common at all. All right.
Agreed.
I'm going to call this the biggest break in bowling history with all things considered because it's a trip 2-8 from the back. And Dino Castillo put out on Twitter to me in a response that Robert Lawrence crossed over to win the U.S. Open one year. I never knew that, Rob. Jimmy actually went and dug up the clip and put it out through Inside Bowling online on Twitter. So check that out. I was not aware of that. Chris Barnes crossed over in the match for the Roll of the Riches, which I think was $250,000 at that time. So that's a big one. Mike Albee crumbled bucket for the Triple Crown Grand Slam against Bob Spalding. Bob Spalding sprawls out on the floor when he crumbles the bucket. If you don't remember, go back and watch it. Okay, Bob Spalding sprawling out on the floor when Albee does it. But I gotta say, Rob, Trip 2-8, very uncommon, $100,000, first major. I think it's the biggest break in bowling history. And you know what? Shout to Tom Darty. I'm not taking anything away from him by saying that. Charlie Tapp in the chat saying if you leave for 56, you're supposed to win. I agree. You know, he's familiar with that building. It's kind of in his local area. So I'm not taking anything away from him. Shout to him. I will say this. I think the fact that he got a lucky break to win took away from his celebration outburst, his celebratory outburst, because you can't really have that outburst after that kind of break, right? Because it's going to be viewed as really rubbing it in your opponent's face or whatever.
Oh, no, Mike, if that was me, the fireworks would have went off. It would have went off, Mike. I would have been on the bull return. I'd have been riding the bull, literally riding the bull, feeling the flow, riding the bull, feeling it, working it. Dude, I telling you, man. Yeah, because if he like went high flush, he was gonna go bonkers, right? But I feel like that ending is actually a lot better than if he would have just actually pured it. But here's the thing,
Anthony Battaglia. All due respect, my guy. Are you really comparing a senior Masters title to $100,000 World Championship? Come on, no.
It's just the break, though. It is the break. It's the break.
All these lazy messenger. I went back and I watched that one too. That was a good shot, man. You know, that was not a Trip 2-8. That was a Messenger 7 with some authority. You call it lazy. I thought there was some authority.
Here's the deal, Mike. Listen to me. Here's the thing: is like, yeah, he put himself in that position to get that break. But you're right in the fact where in my bowling career, I have never tripped an 8-2 from the back. I've crumbled buckets. I've had buckets crumbled against me. I've won Brooklyn God knows how many times when I needed it. And all the breaks that we've seen on TV, it's happened to me or against me. Now, has I ever seen an 8 coming out of the 2 like that from the back? No, I have never seen that before. So that being said, I agree with you. I do think that is the biggest break at the most opportune time in at any major title to ever happen in the history of the PBA, right? I just really wish that there was actually a crowd to see that, because that would have made it so much better, a crazier of a moment if the place was packed, right? With people watching this major. I feel like with no people there, it kind of was like, oh, like everybody was just, you could tell probably at home people were just going crazy. But if you had that crowd reaction, Mike, it would have made it that much better.
You know, Rob, somebody just asked in the chat not too long ago if that shot will become as iconic as Randy Peterson's 8-pin.
No.
And the answer is clearly no. Not even close, because the reaction of the players, okay? Secret lost episode, Rob. Secret lost episode, okay?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. He didn't see it. He didn't see it. I'm the greatest.
I'm the greatest. He was Muhammad Ali.
And Randy. He's doing this while Randy Peterson is curled up in a fetal position on the approach, like
one of
a baby.
My favorite moments in PBA history.
So that doesn't, guys. This is what we talk about every week. That kind of shit doesn't happen anymore.
No.
What happened? And I wanted to make this point. What happened at the end of this match after Darty had that trip? Did you see Butcher's reaction? Big smile, big hug. Oh my goodness! Oh, great man. Let me tell you something.
He's a nice kid. Listen,
Rob, I could be out there bowling you, bowling Bill. One of you catch a break against me like that.
Oh my God!
I don't even care if it's a dead split and we're only bowling for the trophy and the title. We ain't going to dinner. we might not be on speaking terms for a day or two. We'll patch
Oh,
it up eventually. It ain't good, we're
after,
gonna move
but
on eventually.
Mike, if it was me and you and I caught that break against you to win a major, you went to talk to me for about a month because of my reaction would have been Ernie Schlegelish. I would have been running around in the imaginary crowd out there. I couldn't tell you the react, especially if it was my first major in 20 years. I've never won a major in 20 years. Mike, you would have known I won. The whole East Coast of Florida would have known I won that tournament. Dude, I would be at Disney World the next day, throwing Instagram snaps at you with my trophy, with my freaking ears on the freaking magic fucking ride in Disneyland, Mike. And then I know I saw that Charlie Tap says in the chat they had a pick together on Twitter. Look here, I gotta say this about Jacob, okay? I know Jacob personally, okay? Jacob is a nice kid, okay? He's a really good kid, okay? I really like him. He's very respectful. He's got a great heart. He's been through a lot. He's a great bowler. Mike, he needs to get a little bit of that killer instinct as a bowler, like on the lanes, okay? Because look, and I'm gonna compare this with Bill, our boy. Anybody knows Bill O'Neill? The nicest kid you'll ever meet outside the lanes. He'll give you his shirt off your back if you need it, okay? Great dude. On the lanes though, he's a stone cold killer, okay? He will never ever. If that happened against Bill would have shook his hand, been sportsman, but Bill would have probably left the building and, not been happy. I doubt there would have been a selfie with Doherty on his social media after the match. Okay, I think Jacob will. That's just the way he is. He's just a nice kid, but you got to have a little bit of a killer instinct, Mike. You got to have that look at Marshall Holman.
Listen, it's what's missing. It's what's missing from bowling, man. It's what's missing from bowling because
I know.
The collegiality between the players does not allow for any killer instinct to be shown, right?
Right.
And like any other sport you watch, there's all these examples of guys doing exactly what you're talking about, Rob, and showing the killer instinct, making a great play and letting somebody hear about it, or celebrating after a great play, or dunking on somebody and staring at them after. I mean, these are like flipping the bat after a home run. They're very common things, right?
I love the flip bat. I love the flip bat, man.
But the PBA lacks this so much at this point that I don't know if it's ever coming back, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. We want to get through the shows.
I got to talk my piece.
Yeah, Chuck saying no selfie happening.
Gardner, no selfie happening.
Chuck,
absolutely.
What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything like we just said. Rob's my friend. If that was Rob, let me tell you something. If you celebrate it, I would have live on air been screaming at you. You don't even deserve it. You do it like shit. You don't even deserve it. I might have been getting in your face
I know,
right, ruining your celebration.
I know, and I would have had the trophy, and I'd have been cash me outside. How about that with the fucking trophy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Jacob's a great kid, and I can't stress it enough. But at that moment, that part, Mike, I might have just walked off the set. I might have just walked off the set if I thought I was going to act a fool and make a fool out of myself. I would have just walked off. I would have shook his hand. I'd have said, "Hey, man, great bowling. That's the end of it, man. You shake the hand, you're a good sportsman, and then you walk."
Mitch Young in the chat here saying, you have to have the killer instinct during the match, but after the match, you have to have sportsmanship and shake hands at the end of the game. Like all kids are taught to show respect. And Mitch, you know what? That's a great thought, but let's be honest about it. That's not what always happens at the professional level of sports. Okay?
No.
And there's not even prize money on the line that matters in most levels of professional sports. They're making the money they're making whether they win or they lose, and they still walk off the field sometimes without shaking hands because they're not happy about a call or they're not happy about a play or something of that nature, right? So, listen, I just think there needs to be more, more drama, more back and forth, but it is
Doherty. If Doherty rolled that eight into the 2 against P. Weber. And I use P. Weber as an example because P. Weber is the example that a lot of these guys should be trying to follow through with, right?
And I don't know about that.
We'll talk a little bit about today's show. Andrew Anderson's my guy, man. I love that kid, dude. That kid needs to be on TV more because of what he brings to the television show. And we'll talk more about when we review it because we've already been a half hour on the World Championship.
Okay.
But
All
look,
right.
shout outs to Jacob. First off, and I gotta throw a shout out to Jacob too, Buttriff, on his spare shooting. Yo, my guy's making his spares, man. You could tell he's been working at it. Hasn't missed a spare. I haven't seen it in a while on TV. Has been really focused on the spare shooting. So, we've been hard on him in the past because he's missed a lot of spares. But my guy has been making spares, dude. He's been actually, it seems like he's really working hard to get to where he needs to be. To like win. He'll be there. He'll be there more majors. I just want to see the kid start actually really getting a little bit of a killer instinct and start taking it like a little bit personally, because there was a lot of money and a lot on the line when that happened. But look, like you can't change this.
Yeah, shout to Tom Darty too. First major,
Dude.
20 years out there, bowled 100 on
years
TV.
to grind.
100 grand. Bowled 100 on TV, and now he's got 100 grand. So shout to him.
You want to talk about the flow, the 6 minutes of flow they put out, which was
why don't
fantastic.
we do the doubles, right?
Okay.
And then we'll come back to that, and we'll kind of give our thoughts on the show in general, like the quality of the show, and that that would be something that I'm going to throw in there as well. All right, the double show today, Rob, right? Another live show, 5 live shows in a row here. We're going to talk about the brackets for the World Series or the animal pattern shows in a few minutes here. There were no brackets. You can't find brackets anywhere on the shit-ass website.
No brackets.
They have, so forget about it. We had to...
I think I lost Mike.
Not a great situation.
Oh.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me log back in for a second. Carry us for a second here. Start talking about the double shows. I'll be right back. All right.
Okay, you got it. Wow, look at this. I got my own show finally. So yeah, let's talk about the double show. So first match, Jesper Svensson and Kyle Troop. Man, what a good doubles team they are together. I felt like they actually had the chance to win the whole show, believe it or not, just in how they were bowling when they first came out. So let me get Mike back here. I just got into the first match. Jesper Svensson, you're back? Cool. Jesper Svensson, Kyle Troop.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Sean Rash, Matt Ogle. First match, right? Was that against Matt Ogle? I watched it just like 2 hours ago. That's how bad my memory is.
Yeah.
It was kind of a runaway there. I just kind of felt like the urethane, the two-hander urethane had like the advantage, the way Svensson and Troop were playing the lanes compared to the way Rash and Ogle were playing the lanes. Just that bowling alley is tough, man. Tough to carry. So it just looked like it wasn't really a good match. I think Svensson and Troop
well, they shot 278. I mean, Svensson and Troop shot 278. So, it was a runaway. 278, 226. Nice run by Rash and Ogle, though. I mean, they seem to be a good, consistent pairing in the doubles anyway, with some consistent success. So, you go to that second match, right? And that I thought that was the best match of the whole show. Andrew Anderson throws it like an animal the entire game, catches numerous bad breaks. Svensson and Troop look like they're in control throughout the whole game.
Until Troop misses the spot.
Right? Couple errant shots near the end of the game. Troop misses the bucket minus the 8 there. Gives Andrew Anderson the opportunity to get up and punch out basically for a 1-pin win. And to Andrew Anderson's credit, he was able to do it. One of the shots, though, Rob, I mean, it's about as close as you could get to leaving a 10-pin without actually leaving a 10-pin.
That spare that Kyle Troop missed was the whole turnaround of the show. Turned the whole momentum of the whole show around for Prather and Anderson. One shot, or one frame, I should say, by Kyle Troop changed the whole dynamic of the show, Mike. And I can't stress it enough. I can't repeat myself more. Because Troop and Svensson had that match. They were like in the driver's seat. All they had to do was mark out, stay clean. And on that shot, it wasn't that hard to stay clean. Getting to the pockets didn't seem that hard to do. But but carrying was the hardest part. And then Troop, just man, he had a bad frame, and the look on his face when he was sitting back there watching Andrew get up and double a 9 to move. You kind of felt bad for Kyle, because we've all been in that position where you've missed a spare in the late in the game, and your opponent strikes out to beat you by a pin. Trust me, when you're on live for a PBA title, that doesn't feel well.
And it feels worse when it's doubles. I mean, I thought you were going to say we've all been there and bowled on a team, right? And you screw up and you cost the team a game or points or a title or whatever it is, and that feels even worse in bowling, right? I mean, that's like terrible to feel that. Yeah. So I mean, Kyle Troop had an amazing week. You know, he bowled great. He made the World Championship show. He made the double show. He's in a few of the top 16s here. So shout to him. I mean, he continues to stay hot. You know, but yeah, this was definitely a serious hiccup here with that missed spare there.
Early player of the year run, Mike, Kyle Troop. He's won one major. He's made a second major show. He's already made a double show. I don't know how many top 16 or brackets he's in this week, because I can't find any of the brackets. Yeah. So, I mean, he's got a chance to make another show or two this week. I feel like Kyle Troop is he's an early run for player of the year. I mean, who else would you put up there?
It's also early yet, right? It's a little early yet, but
a major and a show major.
If he wins a title over the next 3 shows, then he's kind of running away and hiding a little bit from everybody. Yeah. So, you know, long season left, still a lot of bowling left. But yeah, I don't think it's a crazy take to say that he is the front runner right now. Right? It's not.
Yeah, I mean, look, you still have the Masters, you still have the US Open, and you still have a bunch of shows left. But a major title and a major show is pretty good start for a player of the year run. You know, especially with the big one, the 250K that he won. So doubles, right? Let's get back to doubles.
And Anderson and Prather move on after that match with Spencer.
You knew they were going to win. I knew after that
to bowl Kent and Tackett, right?
Yeah.
I will say that I didn't pay all that close attention, I'll be honest, but it didn't look to me like Marshall Kent threw big bowling balls much throughout the week of the World Series. And he was using one on the show today. And I assume that's because of contractual obligations, which, you know, we all understand, right? They want him to throw the ball company is paying him. I would venture to say so. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's not.
Because I saw him throwing some big stuff
during the week.
Yeah, I saw him throwing
consistently though.
Yeah. Anytime I watched, he was on flow. He was throwing something big. I was looking out for that.
I mean, I saw him using a purple urethane a lot.
Yeah, but that was no. I saw when he had to play in and he was circling the lane when he was bowling good. He was using something big bowling. So that seemed like that was their like actual real competitive debut for big. And you know, look, like Marshall and EJ, they split back to back in the worst possible time in the middle of the match. And you know, Andrew and Chris came out hot, and Andrew just bowled like an absolute savage. Honestly, like he bowled amazing. Like, and you know, Prather started to get it together. He struggled early, and then you know, in the match previously, and then all of a sudden he started to figure it out. And he's too good of a bowler to not figure it out on the same lane he's bowling, right? So that he's just bowling on one lane. He's going to figure it out eventually. So, and he did, and he started striking, helping Andrew. And then as soon as Troop missed that spare, Mike, I said to myself, I think Andrew and Chris are going to win. I really had that feeling. And, you know, it looked like EJ, you know, didn't, you know, same struggles he had on TV yesterday. And, you know, he's just struggling right now, man. You got to feel for him, but he'll get it together. He's too good not to.
Yeah, in that game, Marshall Kent coming out of the gate, you know, with the bad shot in the first frame, I think definitely put them behind the 8 ball, so to speak.
But he made that spare though. He made it that PBA wash.
Yeah, but still, I think that occurring, you know, like Anderson and Prather already had to be somewhat loose coming off of what happened the previous game.
100%.
Being dead and coming. But you know what I'm saying? So, like, then your opponent comes out and starts that way. Even if he makes the spare, I'm still thinking to myself, all right, let's go. I'm locked in, right? I'm locked in on this lane. My partner's locked in on that lane. Clearly, he ain't so locked in on this lane. Let's get after it, right? And that's kind of what they did. They put up a big game. They put up another good score. And then you get to the final match, and you want to talk about somebody throwing it like an animal, Rob, like BJ Moore throwing it like an animal, okay? I mean, the dude was just playing in a really impressive line with the bowling ball out on the lane there today. But, yeah, again, Anderson and Prather just put up a really great game, 245 that last game to 203. So the last match was never really in question all that much, right? And I agree with you. I think that this being a doubles title and the money not being six figures like it has been for the first couple events, perhaps there's a possibility for a little bit of a lack of focus on some players' parts. But I agree with you that you could really tell that Andrew Anderson and Chris Prather really wanted it. Like they really wanted to take that down.
Andrew wanted it more than anybody on that show. And, Chris maybe wanted it. He just doesn't show it as much as Andrew does. But, like, Andrew, man, dude, I love to see him on TV more. Just because of, one, he shows emotion. He's kind of jabbing a little bit of Kyle Troop, because Kyle's tripping out all these flat tens and he's not. And, you could tell like he was joking around a little bit, but he was jabbing him a little bit, with some of those comments. And Andrew was loose. He was having fun. He was laughing, but my man was bringing the intent to bring in the heat. Dude, you see when he doubled in 9? Dude, he brought the fire after that. And you got to love it. You got to love seeing that. Andrew has been, struggling with injuries the last couple of years and hasn't really, lived up to the potential that we all know that he has and he knows that he has. And to see him just bring it today was just awesome. I like Andrew. He's definitely a good kid, but man, we need to see more of him because I feel like he gives the show a little bit of an edge.
You're an Andrew Anderson fan, Rob.
I am an Andrew Anderson fan. I am. I like Andrew. But he brought the fire. He brought the emotion. And look, I'm going to compare it to someone like Chris Vi. Okay. Chris Vi, like, I don't know.
You're not a Chris Vi fan. Is this what you're saying, Rob?
No. I mean, he seems like he's a good kid, but he's got no emotion. He's, you got to check to see if he's, a pulse, if he's actually like alive while he's bowling. There's just no emotion. There's no intensity. I was falling asleep watching those matches when he was bowling. And then that's just as a fan, Mike. I'm coming at this as a fan. I want to see someone yelling and talking shit. But look, here's my long-winded vent session, okay? Let's call it a Rob vent session. I've come to the conclusion that the PBA will never be in the vision that I want it to be as an entertaining show, and the entertainment value of the show. Okay, we're never gonna get it. We're never gonna see 5 Pete Webers who all are rivals that don't like each other, bowling for money and talking shit. And it's not going to be like I'm used to seeing when I was a kid, when I'd watch a lot of the Brooklyn matches action when people didn't like each other bowling for thousands of dollars. So I don't think it's ever going to get that way. I saw some posts about they're all going out to eat together. They're all at barbecues together. There's the houses. There's 8 staying in one house. There's another house that's staying 8 of them. They're all good friends. They're all buddies. It's just not going to get to the point where we're going to see like somewhere in NASCAR where the 2 guys hate each other and they're going to start fighting in the pits. Now, I'm not saying that should happen in bowling, but I'm saying that there should be some kind of, entertainment value for the fans where people, jab at each other and talk a little shit and throw a strike and get a little bit, excited and let the other player know that they threw a strike.
Let me comment on where I saw some of that, Rob, and I called your attention to it while we were getting ready for the show here, and that was in the mic'd up segment that Flo did with Tom Doherty, right?
It's so funny.
It is. It was really good.
It was
And
great.
if you guys,
Tom Doherty's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, if you're a subscriber to Flow, you should definitely check it out. It was awesome. It was really entertaining, and yeah, I think there should be more of that. Right? I think that type of stuff, like the behind the scenes, miking up the players, miking up different players throughout the week, and hearing some of their reactions and interactions and fry outs and things like that. Like, I would love to see a montage before every show, a good, just like Flo did, 5-6 minutes, where they take clips from all 5 of the guys or however many guys are on the show, and they kind of feature different clips from those guys throughout the week or getting ready for the show or whatever it is. While perhaps, hear me out here, folks, I kind of feel like the shows, Rob, take place in a vacuum for the average viewer. And what I mean there is, like, if you're an average viewer turning in, you see these 5 guys, you really have no idea how these 5 guys got to where they are right now, right? So included in that mic'd up type of introduction to the show, maybe give the people some background through text on the screen or through like narrating in the video about how each player got to the finals and why they're here, right? A little bit of background there. The other thing that and we brought this up a couple weeks ago about dumbing the show down, right? I would like to see more of a formatted and standard introduction to the show that includes some simple ideas about bowling for the average viewer, like a standard intro to the show. Like they have their little theme song thing and they play the music and show the shots of the bowling ball. Get rid of that. Do some sort of elementary introduction to the format of the tournament or how the players got there. Like I said, something with the mic'd up included would be awesome to me.
Yeah, first off, the Flow Bowling, that 6 minutes was funny. I laughed all 6 minutes. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, go check it out. Tom Doherty did one of the best audio clips of all time. Literally, one of my favorite. I laugh for I'm still thinking about it. I'm laughing. He was complaining that his thumb hurt. Okay, this is a guy who doesn't use his thumb. He was complaining his thumb hurt because he was shooting too many spares. Okay. It killed me because here, like, all these other guys are putting their thumb in every shot for 60 games, and he's bitching that his thumb hurts, and that I was just dead. But go check it out. There was a good conversation between him and Belmo talking about Doherty's heart attack last year that nobody really knew about, and Belmo was saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna play it up," and Doherty's just like, "Oh yeah, I knew Belmo was gonna fuck me," and I'm just laughing. Like, it's really funny. But look, like I agree with you. There has to be more of that, right? And I've talked about that in every show I think we've did for the past since Sweep the Rack has went live.
But that's a way. That's a way, right?
Something different, right? Something for the people to get to know these guys, and then maybe like an interview, right? While they're showing audio clips, and then you have an interview with a player, and you do an in-depth interview with them, just talking about where they grew up, how they got there. There's so many stories out there about how people got to where they are that nobody even knows about, and they never do. The PBA never has even cared to do a story or any kind of background info on these players, so the fans could relate, right? There's a lot of people look to relate to pros on TV that they like, and they want to have some kind of relationship with them, and the PBA needs to do something more of that fact, right?
That behind the scenes mic'd up from Flow, you know what it reminded me of, Rob? And I criticized the PBA for stealing ideas in a piss poor done way from other sports, like the World Series and this and that. But
home run derby, the strike derby,
the strike derby, right? But what I would like to say is that mic'd up from Flow reminded me of something you would have seen on early episodes of the World Series of Poker. Behind the scenes, following the player, and then like you said, intermixed with interviews with the player to give some background on things, right? And I would love to see something like that become a regular part of the show.
Mike, comparing it with poker, right? In rivalries and people talking shit, Now, I don't know if you followed along back when it was in his actual World Series of Poker was in its prime. Phil Hellmuth and Mike Matusow at the same table was must-see TV. It was the best round of poker you'd ever see when they would show them talking shit to each other. And Hellmuth and Matusow would go at it, and it was just awesome to watch. Look, I saw someone in the chat room talk about putting steel folding chairs in the settee area. Look, I'm not trying to turn the PBA into WWE, okay? I love
Yes, he is. Yes,
no,
he is.
I'm not trying to turn this into the WWE, right? Because that's just completely over the top. Even though Rob Stone, it could be a WWE announcer with all of his over the top stuff that he does. But all I'm saying is you have to turn it more into, poker towards, or like NASCAR with the drivers going at it. You have to you have to have some kind of back and forth between the pros, and people love that. Dude, what's the best part of watching hockey is the fights, okay? Now, I'm not saying the pros have to fight each other on the lanes, but there has to be some kind of intensity that could match that. I'm not saying the pros should fist fight each other, even though if it did happen, it would be all over the sports media world. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, I've always talked to Bill about this, just having a beer with him. I always said if me and him bowled each other on TV, that we would stage a fist fight if we bowled each other. We would just really fighting and throw each other and rolling around in a settee area. Anyway. Okay.
So, like I said, I would just like to see, a little bit more of that become a regular part of the PBA shows. I thought it was cool. I thought it was well done.
Real quick, Mike. Charlie Tapp. Is this ever going to let – am I ever going to let the comment that I said, is that ever going to – people remember that
Charlie, I screenshotted and texted him. I'm not going to lie.
Dude.
I screenshotted and texted him, and I was like, they're listening. They're listening.
Kimberly responded on Twitter and was just like, oh, Rob, someone – I don't want to get into it. Anyway, yeah.
But Zarkov here is saying, oh, we need a documentary show. I'll be honest, Zarkov, I really don't think we need something that involved. I think just showing something like the 6 minutes that they did with Doherty was great, and it showed you his personality, and it showed you a little of his background, and it gave you some reasons to connect to him as a person and a player. So,
Mike,
I get it, but I think that's kind of wishful thinking. We got to start somewhere. It's bowling. We're not going to get, documentaries about players on Netflix. Look, but Rob, last comment here. We got to move on. Yeah. We still have all the World Series pattern shows to get to here.
I know. There's no brackets on the PBA website.
I know. We still got to go over them. Even if the PBA doesn't care about their website, even if the PBA doesn't care about the fans' experience with their tournaments, we do. Sweep the Rack does. So we're here to discuss it with you.
Yeah, but this is Zarkov. Last comment here, because Zarkov's been really good on the chat, man. We need stuff out of that paywall. That's how you're going to grow the sport. That's how you're going to grow it, though. That's how you're going to grow it. You need to put those 5 or 6 minute documentaries out there so the general public could see the behind the scenes and not just the people who are already watching the shows that are subscriptions of Flow Bowling. Okay, let's get on with the shit going on.
So, Rob, as you were saying, it's 16 people who made the cut. Okay, it's best of matches going down to the final 4 for the shows this week, which are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. on FS1. Okay. Everybody clear about that?
Same time, same channel. So
right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, FS1. All right, 8 p.m. Now, here's the problem, Rob. The PBA website stinks. Okay, everybody knows this. There are no brackets. Right. There's no way to access the actual brackets for these tournaments. So Rob and I wrote down the 16 players and kind of broke down the brackets. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a rundown of the players and the matchups and the seedings, okay? And then I'm going to say, Rob, let's each pick 2 people out of the 16 that you favorite to make the show, okay?
Ooh, I'm going to beat you.
All right, let's do that. All right, we'll do that, and I'll make note here, and we will follow up with the people. I don't know, Rob. Should we move our show to Thursday or Friday this week?
Maybe
since the show's Wednesday at 8:00, we probably should, right?
Probably
Yeah,
going to move it to
so we'll
Thursday.
probably Thursday will probably work, right? All right,
Yeah.
so here we go, Rob. I'm going to give the rundown. Okay, I'm going to give you the matchups and the seedings for round one. You and I both picking 2 of the 16 to get to the show here. Okay, here we
All
go.
right, and leave your comments in the chat, people, of who you think is
Yeah,
going to
come
make
on,
it.
get involved, people. Get involved. Let's hear who you think is going to make it. All right, Cheetah Championship Monday, 8 p.m. FS1. 1 seed EJ Tackett, bowling Chris Vi, 16 seed. 2 seed Sean Rash, bowling Scott Newell. Newell. I mispronounced that either way. 2 versus 15 there. 3 seed Marshall Kent, bowling 14 seed Chris Kelso. 4 seed Nick Pate against 13 seed Chris Sloan. 5 seed Simo against 16 seed Dombrowski. 6 seed Michael Tang against 11 seed AJ Johnson. 7 seed Chris Prather against 10 seed Michael Holloman. And 8 seed Sam Cooley against 9 seed Brad Miller.
Okay.
Who do you got? Who's your 2?
All right, I'm going out on a limb on my 1, and I'm going on one of the big names.
I know who you're gonna. Can I take a guess at who you're gonna go out on a limb on?
Okay, who?
Is it AJ Johnson?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, it's actually Michael Tang.
Oh, that's another good one. Okay.
So I like Michael Tang, and I like Simo.
Okay. All right. I like Simo as well. Simo as well. I think out of these 16 guys, you give me somebody to pick.
But he struggled in this house though. He hasn't been bowling good. That's
I have faith that he'll figure it out. Okay. I do. I think that he's a good pick to get to that show. The other person I'm going to go with is Chris Prather.
Okay, write it down.
I like Chris Prather to make that show as well. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't like that pick. I don't like that Prather pick.
Cheetah show Monday 8 p.m. FS1. All right, Chameleon show Tuesday 8 p.m. FS1. Here we go, Rob. And I'm gonna dictate, Rob, that neither of us can pick Bill here. Okay, because Bill's the number 1 seed. So you got Bill against Zach Weedman.
I like
the
Bill.
Weed Man. Okay.
The Weed Man, the 16th seed.
Yeah, Weed Man makes the top 16. What's his reward? You get the bowl bill. You got 2 seed Tom Doherty against Marshall Kent. 3 seed Christian Ascona against 14 seed Jason Sterner. 4 seed Tackett against 13 seed Ronnie Russell. 5 seed Buttriff against 12 seed Matt Russo. That's an interesting match. 6 seed AJ Johnson against 11 seed Brandon Novak. 7 seed Lavery Spar against the 10 seed Maldonado. And 8 seed Tommy Jones against 9 seed Kyle Troop.
Ooh.
I mean, we both like Bill, right? That's what I'm saying. Don't pick Bill. Give me 2 others other than Bill.
All right, I'll go first. I like Buttriff.
Okay.
Probably take sorry, you said AJ, right? Is bowling?
AJ Johnson is the 6 seed bowling Brandon Novak, the 11 seed in round 1.
I'll take AJ. I'll take AJ Johnson to make the show. I'll take AJ and Buttriff. Those are my 2.
Okay. I'm gonna take because honestly, I think it's an easy pick, particularly with how he performed all week. I'm gonna take Tom Doherty. I mean, the guy led the tournament, won the world championship, led the doubles. I think that's an easy pick. I'm also going to take Kyle Troop there. I'm going to take Kyle Troop because, again, I been hot in the building. Made the world championship show, made the double show, made a few cuts here. So he's got to have a good look, and I'm going to take him. Okay.
So someone called him a house mouse.
That's great. All right. Scorpion show Wednesday, 8 p.m. FS1. Here we go. 1 seed Tom Doherty, 16 seed Pete Weber.
Dude, Doherty, I didn't realize how
crushed it this week. Like to me, it's an easy pick. 2 Buttriff, 15 Dom Barrett, 3 EJ Tackett, 14 seed Andres Gomez, 4 seed Nick Crummell against 13 seed Belmo, 5 seed Matt Ogle against 12 seed Michael Tang, 6 Chris Prather against 11 Jake Peters, 7 Zach Weedman, the Weed Man, against 10 Kyle Troop, and 8 Walter Ray against 9 Packy Hanrahan.
Yo, I'm taking Walter Ray, man. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it. The GOAT. I'm telling you, Walter Ray.
Are you serious?
I put down Walter Ray for a show. The last show before he retires, dude. Storybook ending, man. Give me Walter.
Okay. Who else you got?
I don't know. Kyle Troop.
Okay.
I'll take Kyle. Dude, I'm gonna get so much shit about that Walter Ray pick. I don't care, dude. I'm going out with the GOAT.
Okay. I'm gonna take Belmo because it's the only cut he made, and it will be the only show that he makes in this swing. And thinking as highly as I think of him, I think he'll make the most of this opportunity. Okay. And then Rob, I think just again, based on look in the building, based on
you think Doherty again?
No, I'm not, because I already took him. I'm not going to pick the same guy every time. We're only picking 2, but I haven't picked him yet, and I'm going to pick him here again based on look in the building. Was on every show so far, the World Championship and the doubles. I'm going to take EJ Tackett to make another show. All right.
Look, here's the thing is, I think we did this with the Players Championship, and we were picking the top 5 to come out of every show. This format, this match play format, we will see a lot of people on these shows that make it that you have no expectations will make it. A name like Nick Krummel and even the Weed Man, right? Like these are perfect like formats for guys that normally like big names would normally make it. It's a good format for them not to make it. For them to make it. Like what I'm trying to say is people that usually don't make shows every week, good format for them.
Yeah, I also think, Rob, that you can kind of throw the seedings out the window.
Seedings mean nothing.
I said the seedings really don't mean much at all.
They mean nothing.
It gives you an idea, but it doesn't really mean much when the matches start. So I agree with you.
Walter Ray won a regional this week today.
Yeah, no shocker there. I mean, God, the guy was just bowling at a high level all week. Like, come on.
Walter, man.
Child's play to him. So, all right, Rob, that's it. Listen, we got 3 more live shows, okay? It's the best week in bowling, baby. 3 more live shows, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 p.m., FS1. Rob, we'll be tweeting. We'll be on social media. Check us out on there. At BrooklynRob11, right, is your handle. At the 215th right here. Check us out on Twitter. I think, Rob, we'll announce later in the week, but we'll push our show probably back at least a day. So look for us to be on again on Thursday or Friday of this week, I would say. We'll let the World Series shows finish up, and we'll come back, Rob, and break those down and do some analysis on those. I'm really looking forward to the live bowling over the next few days. It's been great, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, for live bowling to be on as much as it's being on right now is awesome, and then you still have the Masters and then the U.S. Open following that. So now what I'm nervous a little bit about is like the PBA. Are we shooting our loads a little bit too early here? Are we going to go on a really dead time, like after like they just air everything the beginning of the year? Like I'd have to look at the schedule to see how the schedule looks. So
we'll have to see. We'll follow up.
Yeah,
Rob, I don't know. Anthony Battaglia is in the chat saying watch along Wednesday. I don't know. I don't know.
You know what the problem is you can't review it and we can't talk about the previous shows.
We got it, and we have to go over the other 2 shows as well, right? So I don't think like we'd have to do a 3-hour show to do the telecast.
We couldn't do worst of the week.
The others, so probably not, Anthony. Check us out on Twitter. All right, we'll be on there, I'm sure, for the shows. Chuck, we appreciate the shout out. We appreciate the support, and you're welcome. You're welcome on the show anytime, Chuck. So anytime you want to come on.
You got to have Chuck on.
Promote the equipment, give us the behind-the-scenes deal on
charity
who's throwing
too.
What. And,
charity.
Yeah, charity, absolutely. Does a lot of charity work. That. Absolutely. So, Chuck, anytime you want to come on and hit us up, man, for sure. We appreciate the support.
Real quick though, final thought. I feel like the PBA should have had an interactive bracket, like marketing campaign where they could have put their 3 brackets. Cringe saying it, but their 3 brackets on their website, and then you could just pick your brackets, and then the person who got the most wins out of the 3 tournaments, maybe they give them like a pretty nice package or some kind of like prize, right? Where whatever it is, right? I don't care.
Yeah, you want to run before we're walking, Rob. How about we just get clickable links on the homepage for results? How about we get game by game results? How about we get a website that's fully built out? All right. So
I know
that's
I'm asking for a lot.
Whatever.
I'm asking for a lot from a professional organization.
I know for sports. I know in 2021. All right, guys. Listen, we appreciate everybody joining us. We hope you enjoyed the shows thus far. Make sure you're watching the shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Follow us on Twitter. And, Rob, we'll catch up with the people Thursday or Friday. We'll review the rest of this bowl, man.
All right. Everyone, peace.
Peace, people.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.